Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend from National Farm Machinery Show. Joe Vaclavik, Andrew Jackson, as well as Alan Hoskins joining us. All right, last weekend on the show, Joe, we were talking about the suspected Chinese spy balloon, what potentially it could mean for relations with the U.S. and China, and especially when it comes to export demand. When you look at China today, how much risk is on the table when it comes to demand?
China doesn't really want to buy anything from us, I don't think, but they have to because they can't secure everything that they need from Brazil or from elsewhere. They used to buy a lot of corn from Ukraine, and they can't really do much of that anymore either. So I think that we're going to be in this continued kind of Cold War situation with China. The United States is in a proxy war with Russia, and Russia is very closely tied to China. And then you've got the additional issue with China regarding Taiwan, which is all related to microchips and semiconductors. This CHIPS Act that Biden signed last year kind of cuts China out of any sort of microchip that's made with U.S. technology. The U.S. technology is the best technology. That's the root of the Taiwan problem. That's why Nancy Pelosi goes to visit Taiwan. So I don't see the tensions going anywhere anytime soon.
So do you think that there is a lot of risk for farmers in the room? I mean, do they need to think about ultimately how it could impact their farm?
I think that China will buy from us what they need from us and not anything more.
Andrew, when you look at the cash market, I know you keep a close eye on the cash market. So, kind of take us into what situation has led us here. And do you see the cash market changing as we head through the next several months?
Well, one of the things I see in the cash market today is, at least keep in mind I'm in the East, one of the things that I'm seeing today is basis is really weak, kind of on its butt from what it was, just a month ago. What led us there? I think I'm probably in the minority when I think that I think we probably carried more corn in, at least in the eastern U.S., than what the USDA realized. We had a little bit shorter crop. Basis levels got really bad on the river. But by the time we were through harvest, I think, at least in Kentucky, I think we realized that the crop was maybe a little bit better than what we feared it could have been. So the farmer was heavily incentivized to store grain through harvest. Then they were tight holders of grain into December. There was a lot of income deferral. So with that, a lot of grain hit the market in January, and that's really got a lot of the southern markets a little bit plugged up. So along with some natural disaster type things that have shut some of the bigger users down. So that's kind of got basis down a little bit. As far as the cash market and what the farmer needs to do, look at what the structure is in your local bid. Look at what your interest rates, look at what your cost of carry is, because your cost of carry on a $7 commodity at 7% interest is 49 cents annually. Okay, that's about 4 cents a month. All right, so if you're looking at a 12-cent inverse to July, and we're 5 months away from there, that's another 20 cents plus 12, 32 cents. You've got to have a 32-cent improvement in basis to break even, let alone quality risk, let alone headache, and all those other things. There are better ways to speculate, in my opinion, in the futures market rather than holding cash in the bin.
Interest rates, Andrew mentioned it. As we look at the interest rates, I mean, we know operating loans, significant increase in cost there. But when you look at interest rate in that situation today, what are some of the impacts on the farm level that maybe we're not talking about at this point, Alan?
Well, obviously, operating lines will be number one. One of the things that I would say that we're not looking at maybe as closely as we should, and I'll say this can be the banking industry as well as producers. What loans do producers have that are going to be maturing, or repricing, or maybe maturing in the next 3 to 5 years? If interest rates stay where they are, what does that look like to the cash flow and the profit and loss statement if those loans reprice or are rewritten at today's rates? I think that's something that probably deserves a little more attention than it's getting.
Joe, real quick, I know avian flu, you've talked about avian flu a little bit, but when you look at the demand standpoint, are you concerned about when you look at it spreading across some of these other countries, the impact ultimately that it could have on some of our demand?
Yeah, there were some reports just this week, as a matter of fact, that they had bird flu in Argentina. Brazil said they did not detect it, but some other South American countries as well. I mean, we've had bird flu in the United States. Chickens were killed at commercial poultry operations because of this. So, I mean, it's a risk. It's something to be monitored. Does it matter today? No. But it's something that I think we probably have to keep an eye on.
Okay, Andrew and Alan, real quick, 2 positive things you want to leave us with. Andrew, you start with you. What's something positive that you want to leave farmers with?
I guess I'm just going to give one piece of advice here. Don't get caught up in what you think is a sexy flat price. Look at manage your margin, okay? Does corn have to be $6 futures exactly before you're willing to sell? What are your inputs? What's that leave you with in the budget? If there's margin there, manage your risk.
Alan?
One of the positives that I see is I think farmers are just continuing to improve their business acumen. They're doing a good job in understanding their margins, and I think they're doing an excellent job overall in managing those margins.
All right. Joe, Andrew, Alan, thank you so much for joining us. We need to take another quick break, and then we will be back with much more U.S. Farm Report in just a moment. Please stay with us.